In the great sweep of the Forbidden Lands, some of its most remarkable stories belong not to large monsters, but to the creatures who move quietly through the undergrowth and twilight spaces. They are the foragers, the burrowers, and the nimble climbers. In forests, dunes, volcanic basins, and icy cliffs, they navigate landscapes that tower above them and evade creatures larger than trees. When we pause long enough to watch, we discover that this endemic life carry worlds of wonder within their claws, wings, shells, and fur. Amstrigian are migrant birds that live in the forest, but travel to the plains during the plenty to raise their young. Amstrigians choose lifelong mates and share the work when it comes to gathering food, building nests, and minding their young. Hymstrigian are rare birds with beautiful voices. Though similar to the Amstrigian, their stunning songs and colourful feathers distinguish them. Nothpeckers are birds that live in symbiosis with the ceratnoths and are often seen perched on their backs. They use their plier-like beaks to pick away old scales and feed on insects that have wormed their way into the cracks. In return for this grooming service, the ceratnoths give the nothpeckers a place to feed and shelter from outside threats. The Dapperwing, a species noted for its males who don spectacularly colourful plumage after molting. During the fallow, their plumage is a subdued green to match the vegetation, but once the plenty arrives, males adopt a vibrant colour palette to attract females. Dazzlewings are male dapperwings with bigger tails, brighter plumage, and pretty good odds when it comes to attracting females. Downy Crakes are birds that can be sighted riding on the backs of small monsters. They are extremely wary of external threats and are quick to flee, making them difficult to capture. Mimiphyta are forest creatures that survive by using mimicry to disguise themselves as plants, confusing predators and luring in prey. Mimiphyta change form in response to seasonal and environmental changes. During the fallow, they'll snuggle up at the base of a tree to live as fungi, while in the season of plenty, they blossom into lovely flowers and prey on butterflies and insects that flutter near. Gawkie are creatures that live in cold climates, often in abandoned buildings. Their slowness and lack of defense measures suggest they aren't accustomed to threats. Perhaps because of this, they are not very cautious and will watch curiously while standing on their tails. They also like to gnaw on hard things to wear down their teeth. Scalebats are creatures that greatly resemble bats. They hang from the ceiling in dark places like caves and become active at night, preying on insects and smaller flying creatures. They can also be found in forests. Because of characteristics like their scales, it is theorized that they may have evolved from wyverns. The Sandstar is a nocturnal desert creature with pale, luminescent fur that is believed to be the result of the insects they primarily feed on. Highly vigilant, they use their excellent hearing to detect approaching threats and flee. The Wedge Beetle is an insect with a robust shell that can withstand most lesser impacts. They cling firmly to walls and other surfaces, making them excellent latching points for hunters. Bomb beetles roll around explosive rocks. Because both these rocks and their habitat are extremely hot, their bodies have evolved to withstand the heat. It's yet unclear what they do with the rocks once they get them back to their nests, but some theorize that they are fed to the beetle's young. Rime beetles gather up snow. Due to their ecology, ice beetles are limited to cold habitats and are more tolerant of cold than any other insects. No one knows why they roll their snowballs back to their nests. Some theorise it's to grow the organic matter they feed on, while others think it could be related to a reproductive behaviour. Dung beetles are insects that habitually roll up monster dung. They bring it back to their underground nests, not just for food, but to lay eggs on and feed their larvae. The Vigormantle Bug is an insect that wears healing herbs like cloaks, initiating a fermentation process that creates a nectar with similar restorative properties. The Chillmantle Bug is an insect that lives in extremely hot environments. They wrap themselves in a case of plant matter, much like their mantle bug brethren, but the plants they use have cooling properties, allowing them to withstand heat. The Heatmantle Bug is an insect that lives in extremely cold environments. They wrap themselves in plant matter, much like their mantle bug brethren, but they use plants with heating properties such as hot peppers to mitigate the cold. The Thunderbug is an insect capable of discharging small amounts of electricity. They are drawn to electrical sources, particularly the fulgurite formed by lightning strikes. Great Thunderbugs are a large colony of Thunderbugs that reproduced rapidly as a result of the sandstorm lightning. A population this dense can reproduce enough current to stop even the largest of monsters in their tracks. Flashbugs are insects that emit strong bursts of light in response to external factors. It was long believed that blunt trauma or death were the triggers, but this theory has been rejected. It is now thought that some constituent element of their body fluid vaporizes and produces the flash. The Godbug is an insect that's claimed by some tomes and oral histories to live for 1,000 years. No such specimens have been discovered, but studies of the Godbug's tissue prove that they do enjoy significant longevity. The Bitterbug is an insect whose bitter extracts are used for a wide variety of medicinal purposes. The Pallbug is an insect that feeds on dead flesh and serve as decomposers in the ecosystem. They use the bristles on their forelegs and joints to sweep organic matter from the carrion. When they're not feeding on dead monsters, they can usually be found lurking in between rocks or other places the sun doesn't reach. Quatreflies are flying insects that resemble four-leaf clovers. Resilient to any weather, they can be found day or night in nearly any climate at places where monsters aren't likely to prowl. Petaflies are insects found in areas with ample vegetation. Petaflies have poor flight capabilities, but they can still use the wind to get around. The larvae live in water or on moist ground until they mature, while an adult's short lifespan is spent reproducing. Myriads are butterflies that hatch during the plenty and pupate near its close. They adapt their life cycle to the scarlet forest, so if a population hatches early, it may reach adulthood within the same season. They feed a variety of predatory organisms, including insectivorous plants, making them a crucial part of the ecosystem. Omen flies are insects whose bellies grow yellow or red when they detect threats. Their resemblance to fossils seems to suggest that omen flies have been around for quite a long time. The glowing seems to be a warning to enemies. Since omen flies stay near the water, it is believed they keep their larvae in the water or in the moist soil nearby. Adults will stay airborne for the majority of their lives. Flash flies are insects that flash when struck. Usually they live solitary existences with too faint a flicker to even notice. In caves, however, or the dark of night, they form colonies where their light is more intense. Dark hornets are nocturnal with strong defensive instincts. When they sense danger, they use a luminous organ to illuminate the area to check for threats. If one is spotted, they attack relentlessly with their poisonous stingers. Vigorwasps are insects that gather restorative nectar from vitalities and store it in their abdomen. While the flowers and nectar have similar properties, the latter can be scattered in large quantities to produce a lingering continual healing effect. Giant vigorwasps are large wasps that carry more nectar at a higher concentration. This boosts the range and potency of the nectar's restorative effects. They are most prevalent during the plenty, when the vigorwasps have learned the nectar will be more plentiful. Pure wasps are insects that store nectar in their abdomens with restorative, detoxifying and deodorizing properties. Since the effects are different from a vigorwasp's, it is believed that this species collects ingredients from medicinal plants other than vitalities. Leaflugger ants are forest ants known for forming ranks and carrying leaves. Their sharp mandibles consist of a sharp edge for cutting and a separate apparatus for bending the leaves back behind their heads for easy carrying. Leaflugger ants use these leaves as substrates to grow fungi, their primary sustenance. Wiggly Litchi are insects that thrive in rotting wood and soil due to their diet of plants and rotting leaves. Their high nutritional value makes them a common snack for some monsters. Emperor hoppers are huge grasshoppers that have fully earned their name. Their powerful hind legs allow them to jump long distances and escape in a pinch. The Tyrant Hopper is a phase mutation of the Emperor Hopper. Their bodies are reddish black and are more ferocious. While hoppers are usually herbivorous, this type feed on carrion. Due to the similarities across different regions, it is believed the mutation must occur in environments where plants are scarce. Vaporinids are master weavers that use webs to ensnare prey. You will often see butterflies and other insects caught in their web, which is as big as a person and is equipped with an escape route for the vaporinid in case predators approach. Jewel scarabs are brightly coloured beetles with impressive shells that fan outward. Each beetle's colouring and shapes are different, and with their sparkle it's no wonder they're likened to gems. They tend to be diurnal, gathering on the trunks of trees in hopes of getting a nip of sap. The regal jewel scarab is the finest of jewel scarab specimens, with larger, more developed shells. They are found with the rest of their kind feeding on sap. Hercudromes are beetles with distinct horns extending from the head and pronotum. They are nocturnal and feed mainly on sap, which you can see if you observe tree trunks at night. The horns are used to compete for food. They have wings, but their large size and heavy shells limit their flight capability. The gold hercudrome is a shiny subspecies with a golden carapace. Very few of these have been found, and no one has figured out why the carapaces are gold. However, the sightings span several regions, and these are classified as a subspecies, not just a colour variation. The Prism Hercudrome is a member of the Hercudrome family with an iridescent carapace. Its pronotum is large and developed, with 3 prominent horns. Pilopods are creatures that survive by attaching to the wormway, using energy-receptive organs along their abdomens to harvest its energy. This specialised adaptation, and its other traits that are consistent with ancient organisms, make this species a fascinating subject of study. For example, their vision and nervous systems are highly developed for such a simple body structure, a detail that invites further investigation. A gillopod is a special type of pilopod with a larger body and more prominent expanded energy circulation system. Their eyes are compressed, suggesting a mutation caused by excessive energy intake. However, considering how little is known about ordinary pilopods, these mysteries may take some time to elucidate. Wind rustlers are plains dwellers that move in packs. They use their arrow-like crests to coordinate movements and alert each other to threats. Since they stand their crests up when people or monsters draw near, that gesture is believed to indicate danger. The black wind rustler is a rare variant occasionally spotted in the wind rustler pack, with charcoal skin and a larger frame. While it could be a type of melanistic mutation, there are enough unique examples to suggest this might even be a subspecies. Rough lizards are lizards with adipose tissue near their jaws and tail. When food is plentiful, these sac-like reservoirs fatten up and turn a healthy red. A rough lizard with plenty of food in the tank is a happy rough lizard, and you may see them basking in the sun and bobbing to each other in greeting. A poorly fed rough lizard, however, will move as little as possible. Ember Ruffilizards are lizards with distinctive creases on their heads. When they bob their heads to communicate, the creases open and glows along the pattern of their bodies. They prefer hot environments such as volcanic areas. It's theorized that they primarily feed on bugs that lurk among the rocks. Azure Rufflilizards are rare lizards with different coloration than the more common Ember Ruffilizard. Since they so closely resemble the common Ember Ruffilizard in every other way, they are currently thought to be a mere colour variant as opposed to a subspecies. However, many reports claim these lizards are far larger, so they may be in the process of evolving into their own subspecies, a current hot topic among researchers. Tracktail lizards are endemic creatures that are native to the Windward Plains, particularly its deserts. Thanks to their unusual tails, they can sit upright and assess their surroundings, or they can shield themselves from the hot sun. When they sit, their tails leave a large mark in the sand that resembles a large monster footprint. Smoke shroud geckos are lizards with luminous organs around their body. When attacked, they go dark and leave luminous material in their wake as a decoy while they make a quick getaway. From this observation, it can be summarized that it's not their epidermis that glows, but some other substance stored in their bodies. In line with these habits, smoke shroud geckos can generally be found in dark, gloomy places. Gloom geckos are lizards that prefer deep caves and other places that light doesn't easily reach. They can even survive in volcanic habitats, proof of their resilience in even the harshest of climates. Their toxicity is unknown, but the red and purple colouring of their skin is believed to be a warning. Land-light shrimp are shrimp-like creatures that use their secretion to comb through fulgurite and feed on organic matter like dead thunderbugs. The consumption of some of these microbes seems to have given the land-light shrimp a kind of luminescence. They use hook-like appendages to cling to rock faces in large numbers, happily eating away at the fulgurite and occasionally triggering falling boulders. Pink land-light shrimp are land-dwelling crustaceans that gather on gaseous vents in the oil well basin. Their hair on their heads and chests collect particulates from gas and steam, which attract the microbes that they feed on. The faint light they produce is thought to be a byproduct of the microbes they eat. Florashell crabs are crabs that pile plants onto their cup-like carapaces and burrow into the ground to hide from predators. Their claws are shaped like shovels, allowing them to burrow more easily. They generally remain buried during the day, becoming active only at night, where they can be found digging for insects to eat. Florashell crabs are crabs that pile plants onto their cup-like carapaces and burrow into the ground to hide from predators. Their claws are shaped like shovels, allowing them to burrow more easily. They generally remain buried during the day, becoming active only at night, where they can be found digging for insects to eat. Curia shell crabs are crabs that have retained their ancient appearance and are bigger than their standard brethren. They flee at full speed the instant they spot a foe, not bothering to camouflage themselves. Instead, they heap metal objects onto their carapaces, which are thought to be artifacts from ancient civilizations. Scarlet joy perch are creatures that have adapted to living both on land and in the water. They are precious evidence of how amphibious creatures might have come to walk the earth. Scarlet joy perch have become active at night, where they light up the luminous organs near their heads, spread their fins, and let out a cry, presumably their way of strutting their stuff to other members of their kind. The blink angler is an aquatic creature that has adapted to life on land. Though similar to the and angler, the shape of the light on their heads are different and are designed to attract the sparkler jelly that float in the air of the oil well basin. Due to this, some theorise that the andangler and blink angler may have evolved from other amphibious fish. The paratoad is a toad containing a paralytic gas that are usually found by the water. They are sensitive to force and will release the gas as a defensive measure. The nitrotoad is a toad that stores an explosive liquid within their body. Any physical stimulus causes them to spray this liquid and flee. The sleep toad is a toad that stores sleeping gas in its body. A shock will cause them to spray the gas, putting the enemy to sleep while they escape. Sparkler jelly are jellyfish that float in the air. Environments that contain the airborne microbes they feed on and the air currents they use to get around are quite rare. Because the yellow ones found in the oil well basin are all male, and the larger, more colourful peony sparkler jelly are all female, it is theorised that they actually belong to the same species. Peony sparkler jelly are jellyfish that float in the air. They are larger and more colourful than their yellow brethren. The tiny beads of light within them are actually eggs and larvae, so it's believed that these creatures are entirely female. This suggests that they belong to the same species as the yellow sparkler jelly, which are entirely male. That being said, it's exceptionally rare for jellyfish to have such extreme differences between sexes. Solanaria are creatures with rippling fins on both sides of their body that help them move through the air. The fins possess a sort of circulatory system, similar to blood vessels that give off life. Because their bodies are so fragile, even the slightest shock or gust of wind can tear them apart. Their regenerative abilities make up for this, however, as each piece becomes a separate individual. Nuyaya are the larvae of a new Udra. Not much is known about their breeding cycles, but it seems many eggs will hatch at once, meaning groups of the creature are not uncommon. This distinctive pattern on their head appears to hide an underdeveloped eyeball and seems to grow into better support of the eye. Zuyo are Zuwu larvae, newly hatched from their eggs. They already give off a faint luminescence, and patterns can be seen through their thin, transparent skin. They generally move in groups, but not in an organised manner. It's only because they hatched at the same time. After hatching, the nutrients from their eggs sustain them for a while. Beyond that, their diet remains unknown. In every leaf litter, every drop of water, every grain of soil, entire worlds unfold. These creatures may be miniature, but the universe they inhabit is anything but. When we look closely, we discover that the extraordinary is everywhere.